I called my husband during my girls' night out and said, "Honey, I met a new friend, his name is Jamar. I'm staying at his place tonight. We're just hanging out. Trust me." I then hung up the phone. The next day, when I got home, I found my house completely empty. In the backyard, there was a big pile of my stuff burning. My neighbor came over and handed me a box. Inside was my marriage certificate, dirty. My husband had used it as a paper in Dub C and left it for me. Before tragedy struck and changed everything, John Valentino was a driven businessman known for his sharp mind and strong presence in finance. He built his career manipulating currency markets for high-profile clients, including powerful hedge funds. His success brought him wealth and influence, but also enemies, setting the stage for a betrayal that would upend his life. John believed he had control over both his work and personal life. On the surface, his marriage to Eleanor seemed ideal, yet beneath the appearance of success, a deep betrayal was brewing, ready to devastate him. What happened next was no ordinary robbery, it was a carefully orchestrated conspiracy by those he trusted. One August morning, John's life took a terrifying turn. After a normal start to the day, he entered his building's elevator, where two strangers joined him. Their casual conversation quickly became threatening. Without warning, John was attacked. His final thought before losing consciousness was the grim realization that he had been set up, but it was too late. "Mr. Doe," a voice called, louder now, as he felt sharp pain in his hand, his index finger being crushed. Good, he thought, but he couldn't breathe and felt weighed down. "You're in the hospital, John," the voice was clearer. "I need to run a few tests, then you can sleep." "Hospital? Sleep? Open your eyes, John," he struggled but managed to glimpse light. "Good, try again." A blinding light stabbed at his senses, then vanished. "Can you squeeze my hands?" He felt pressure and tried to move. "Great, now wiggle your toes." A sharp scrape on his foot made him flinch. "Excellent, you're improving, Mr. Doe. Rest again." Darkness came. When he regained awareness, it felt like he was rising from a heavy weight, struggling to break free. He felt cool air from a fan, his legs moving as if walking in bed, but he wasn't, was he? A faint beep sounded behind him, followed by brief buzzes on his right, and then a persistent chime. He tried to turn his head, triggering an alarm near his feet. "What's happening?" he thought, confused. "Hey there, mate," a friendly voice said. He heard a chair move and a hand touched his shoulder. "You're waking up after being in a coma for a long time." Something tugged on his arm and the beeping stopped. "I'm Brian, one of the nurses taking care of you." He tried to speak, but nothing came out. "You can't talk yet because there's a tracheostomy tube in your neck to help you breathe. You're on a ventilator, but we're hoping to remove it soon." He felt a damp cloth wipe his right eye and cheek. "What's wrong with my face?" he wondered. He couldn't feel the left side. "Try to open your eye, John." "I'll dim the lights," Brian said. "Okay, give it a try." John blinked, seeing a blurry light. The cloth wiped his eye again, and things brightened. "We're clearing ointment from your eye after the drops," Brian explained, wiping again. The room slowly came into focus, and a figure stood over him. "Blink a few times, it'll help," Brian said, becoming clearer to John, long brown hair, a short beard, and a stethoscope over dark blue scrubs. "Welcome back, buddy. It's been a long journey," Brian said with a grin, holding a red flashlight. "I'm going to check your eye, okay?" The light was bright but manageable. "Great. Now for the next part. Squeeze my fingers." John squeezed. "Good. Now wiggle your toes." John wiggled them. "All right," Brian said, tapping a tablet. "We're calling you JN because we don't know your real name, but you've responded to it. So, is your name John? Nod or shake your head." John nodded yes. 2 points for the red team, Brian laughed, updating his tablet. "You're in the ICU at St. Joe's. You've been here for over a month. It's Wednesday, September 29, 2021. John struggled to process the information through his foggy mind. "If you look by the door, you'll see a whiteboard with the date and the names of your doctor and the staff working with you," Brian explained, pointing. "I'm Brian, and Dr. Balan is the intensivist. Ma is your medical assistant, and RT is your respiratory therapist." Brian walked back to the bed. "It's 2 a.m., and we're in the middle of the night shift." He held up a clear plastic tube. "This is a suction catheter. I'm going to clear the spit from the back of your mouth." John heard a slurping sound but barely felt anything. "Other things you should know," Brian continued, "you have a tracheostomy tube, an NG tube in your stomach, and a catheter in your bladder, so you might feel like you have to pee." John did, in fact, feel that way. "Don't worry, your urine's going into a bag by your bed," Brian reassured him. "We've tied your wrists with soft restraints to keep you from pulling anything out while you're still medicated. Once you're off the ventilator, we can remove them if you promise not to tug at anything." Brian's voice softened. "Are you in pain? Squeeze my hand if you are." John shrugged, unsure. "Okay. We want to keep you comfortable but not too out of it," Brian explained, pointing at a row of medical instruments. "You're on a lot of medication right now, but we'll reduce them when we can." None of it made sense to John, so he stared at the ceiling and drifted off. His sleep was filled with horrific dreams of pain and fear, images that faded quickly. John woke gasping for air, alarms blaring on his left. His left side remained bandaged, and he coughed, feeling intense pain in his throat and chest. "Easy does it," a gentle female voice said. A blonde woman appeared. "I'm Sarah. You can click on share and more to see if there is a part 2.